So guys, I'm starting today off with a bit of a recap from the 2021 WNBF Worlds. I placed 4th here. This was my last show of the season, and I want to go through some of the mistakes I made and what I've learnt from this experience, and what I'm doing now to kind of change that. So that's me on the left there, blue shorts. I actually came on stage almost missing my stage time. I was up in my room, and I checked my sort of phone where there was a live stream and didn't realise how close it was until we were on. A rookie error that I'll never make again. But I went on stage rather like flustered, and you can see from here just immediately the way I'm posing, the way I'm kind of moving my head. I just don't look comfortable. And that's a big part of men's physique, is looking confident, looking comfortable up on stage. And this was something that I just wasn't showing, right? Now our winner there, Harry, with the pink shorts on, he looks confident, and he kind of shows that. He's just nice and smooth with his transitions, and he gets into the pose and he holds it. That side for me is my better side. The other side is my least favourite shot, and it still needs work now. It's more a mobility issue, but I'm going to get into that in a sec. And then that front pose is just really not showing much of a V-taper, and that was some of the feedback, right? So the guy who switches there, he came second with the red shorts on, and you can see the way he poses in that front pose. He's got a little bit of a twist at the waist, makes his waist really narrow. He's already got a small waist, and just makes himself big up top, and it gives that nice look. See how he's kind of kneeling into that side, whereas I'm just straight up and down. So first of all, the posing needs to change, and I knew for a fact that that front pose really needed some work. This shot was my least favourite shot. Unfortunately, it's still not the best. I'm working on it, but it still needs work on that side. My back is one of my strengths. You can see that here. It definitely is a strength of mine, and I imagine that will be much the same case this year. This side is also very good. I pose this pretty well. I'm maybe leaning over too far, right? And that's another thing I've learned, is like I kind of lean into these poses. This is me getting compared now. I come 4th. That guy that switches with me, he's our 3rd place. And I think it's very close between the two of us, but now you're going to see where I really start to kind of lose my composure a little bit. So look at my midsection. Look how I'm not holding it tight. This is me being critical, but you can see the other guys, the guys to the right, are just holding the pose, and they're holding their midsection tight. I'm moving about, I'm jittering, I'm not in that nice V-taper. I keep changing, keep switching. And I practiced this as well. The nerves got to me at this stage. So that's something that needs to change. That isn't too bad, doesn't look too bad, that side shot. But a lot of this is stage presence, right? The back shot looks pretty good. Fairly happy with that back shot. Again, you could argue like I'm maybe a little too big for the category, but I don't think really that's the case. I think more of it is just to do with the posing and stage presence in these shots. Conditioning is definitely there. It wasn't my best look by far. The best look was a couple of shows before this, the WNBF qualifier for this event. But then again, you can just see that I'm not holding my midsection. I'm breathing in and out, and that's what the judges are looking for. They're looking for that level of control. The guy who came 3rd, you can see that he's holding his abs pretty good. He's a little bit shaky in that front pose, but he's able to hold the abs. So it's something that this season, I don't want to make the same mistakes with this. Again, I want to have more of that taper. So I've gone away and I've worked on it. I actually got some posing lessons for this season. So We've gone away, we worked on it, and we're going to come back a lot stronger, better transitions, smoother transitions, a bit of strategy for before going up on stage as well. So I'm going to show you now some clips of my current posing routine and what has changed in that. So here we go. So this is me hitting that back pose. Obviously, I'm not as lean as I am in the other photos, but this is 8 weeks out. So the practice at the moment, what I'm practicing is just making sure I'm hitting each pose and being able to hold for at least 30 seconds. In this video, you can see I'm just holding for about 15 to 20 seconds. That shot's always been a strong, or that side's always been a strong one. Just need to make sure I'm standing up tall. And then I've switched the position. You can see I'm getting more of a taper now in that shot. Arguably in this one, I do need to turn my waist a little bit more so it's not a complete side shot, but you can see that there's a much better taper in the shot. Now this is my least favorite pose, and you can see here I'm still kind of working on transition into getting into that pose. But I just struggle with the mobility to get that right side along. So yeah, some work needs to be done, but it is a work in progress and it is improving. Moving on, guys, we have some clips from a push session that I did this week with my client Bradley. Now Bradley's competing for the first time at a UKDFA show, which is one of the main natural feds here in the UK. So this is a good push session. Unfortunately, Bradley had been ill before the session, so there was a little bit of drop in his strength. But he is now at the stage where things are getting real with prep, right? He's starting to embrace some of that fatigue and experience it. But this was a really good session. Always good training with Bradley or any of my clients, because we're just there to push each other, right? And this is exactly what we did in this session. Training all the way to failure there. Really nice last rep. And then we will move on to myself. And this weight has been pretty much staying the same. I changed the rep ranges up slightly on this movement, as I mentioned in one of the previous vlogs, because things were stagnating a touch, but this is feeling very smooth, very comfortable. My thought process when I'm pressing, guys, is just remaining as fixed as I possibly can. So you can see there's not really much movement, and all I'm focusing on doing is keeping my wrists and elbows stacked, driving my elbows together, squeezing hard through the chest. That control is all the way there as I come down, and then I'm actually bringing it to my chest just because I have the mobility to do that. Like, it's not causing any additional pain on my shoulder joints, so I will take it through that full range of motion. Moving on, this is like a flat seated press. This isn't my normal gym, by the way. This is Extreme in Livingston. I normally train at the one in Glasgow. So we were just having a bit of a play about on this piece of kit. But yeah, this felt pretty smooth. More of a sort of like a flat press in comparison to the last movement, which was more incline focused. Most of my pressing is incline focused. I think this is pretty much the only sort of flat press I do in the week, but the heavy focus for men's physique is all top line, so that upper chest region. If I can remember right, this was quite a heavy machine. You can see here I'm really grinding out those last few reps. Bradley comes in for that final spot and we just get that last one. Yeah, that was a fail. That was beyond failure, so really shouldn't have taken that last one there. But Bradley came in for the spot. Same with Bradley. So Bradley, when he started with me, he was pressing a little bit through his front delts. So he was quite front delt dominant, and he was struggling to kind of initiate through the chest. So the main focus for him was just to really lock into his position at the start. So thinking about trying to keep his shoulder blades retracted on the bench, keeping his shoulders back, and just think about initiating and driving through the chest. The easiest way to do that is think elbows together. And it has improved massively. Still a little bit wobbly in those reps there, but I give it to him. He's made huge improvements to his chest through this whole process, and we're starting to reveal that as we're kind of leaning out. But again, another really heavy bit of kit, really heavy in the lengthened range, right at the bottom there. You can see that, struggling to get out of it. That's where I can kind of come in at the end just to give him a little bit of a hand to get short. Moving on, we did have another incline press, but I forgot to record that. So this was just a little bit of the delts. We started with a primer delt movement, and then we kind of moved on to this cuffed crucifix lateral raise, which is one of my favorite delt movements. Just get such a good connection with my side delts in this movement. Now, arguably, I'm kind of lifting off the bench a little bit. Like my chest is kind of coming forward, whereas you kind of want to keep back, chest up. I'm kind of moving my head a little bit too much, but I am feeling that a lot in the side delts. So the position of the elbow matters here, just slightly in front, just to align those fibers of the side delts. And it is good to get a spot on this one, just to get it short, just to get that final rep in, and to allow you to get short, just pushing from the elbows there. You can see Bradley doing that. Final sort of movements of this day, we kind of did a bit of triceps. So this is like a push session. So we did like a skull crusher machine, which was super heavy. I think we both finished with just no weight on the machine itself. And then there was a bit of a superset to finish with these dual rope pull downs and a single arm tricep extension. And yeah, just focus on getting a good pump towards the end. Really like these dual rope push downs. I've always liked them. It's probably one of my favorite tricep movements. But yeah, finished the session with a pretty good pump. Obviously at this stage of the diet, I'm still full of carbs, not yet depleted. So yeah, really good session with Bradley today. So I'm aware it's been a bit of a mixed match today, but basically points are the posing is something I have gone away. I worked on transitions. Another thing I probably should have mentioned on those clips is just the transitions weren't the best. They didn't look that pleasing. Like, it's important with your transitions that they flow nice. With mine, a lot of them, like the way I would kind of move my arm across my chest, just didn't really flow that well. So that's something I've really been working on, trying to bring to the stage this year, is nice seamless transitions between each pose, and then just getting into the pose and being able to being able to hold that pose. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. Obviously now we are a little over 8 weeks out, which is very exciting. The hip injury I've had a bit of a hip injury, but that is starting to heal up a little bit. Basically, my training split at the moment is 2 days back biceps, push sessions, and 1 legs and delt session. So the legs and delt session, I actually just do accessory movements for my legs to navigate this injury. Luckily enough, I am still able to do my cardio okay. So it's not stopping me from doing my cardio, which is a big thing, because if it was, it'll be really hard to get that sort of output. Eventually, as the diet goes on, we might need to look to dropping calories down rather than increasing expenditure too high, because it's just going to have a toll on my hip, and this is something I really need to get looked at. So once prep is done, if it hasn't really improved that much, I'm probably going to get a scan on it just to make sure it's nothing too serious. But other than that, I feel pretty good, guys. We are going into a high day this week, and that's just going to top me up going into next week. A little bit fatigue coming on, but the thing is, I'm kind of used to this process. Like, I know what to expect at each stage of the way. I know what being in the trenches feels like, and what it feels like to really dig. So for me, this is quite easy. It might start getting hard in between the shows. I know that's usually when it gets quite difficult, but for me at the moment, things are nice and easy. I'm willing to push. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. This is obviously a really important season for me. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. I hope you enjoy the video. If you have any questions, if you need any tips, if you want any coaching, please go and follow me over on social media at Crendo Coaching. Drop me a DM and I will get back to you. But stay tuned for the next episode, guys. Next one, I'm probably going to be maybe about 5 to 6 weeks out. So some of the struggles of prep will start coming in at that point, and I would like to document a bit of that. So thanks again for watching and stay tuned for the next one.